So as many of you know that I was talking for years about the concept of dynamic labile equilibrium, which means to be in a state where everything is possible, where you're not static, where you're not balanced, where you're not in a neutral position, but where you are at the tipping point possibly many times of your life. And now this concept has really given weight, and it's actually has been extended by another one which I call, or which is called unconditioning. I think unconditioning is the prerequisite for a life in Dili, something that is open for change, something that is inspired, creative, has a sense of freedom. So everything that we really want, that we are missing when we don't have it. And this unconditioning is a process, is an action. Whereas like dynamic labile equilibrium, state is a state. So it's something that is. So this unconditioning is, I like one quote by Goethe. He said, of freedom only the one is deserving who conquers it anew every day. So it's a process, and I will in the coming months explore with you what this practically means. Now here I'm in a monastery in Thailand, and it resonates very much with me, this monastic life and the concept of non-attachment in Buddhism. But I think this unconditioning goes further. It goes towards an unconditioning, even towards concepts that in monastic life have been considered to be the values or the aim of monastic life has to be unconditional. But how? By being not married, chastity, by poverty, and then when you understand the concept of unconditioning, you understand that there's not something good or bad, not richness, not sex, not food, not comfortable life, but what is limiting is when those conditions become determining for your life and for your actions and for your decisions. And so when you are a monk after some time, and you see this here, it becomes a routine. Yes, I was sitting on a boat recently next to a monk, and I was trying to feel his presence, his awareness. And then after a short time I heard him snoring. Yes, because it's of course it's just another routine. Here you have to get up for 3 o'clock in the morning, go out, pray, and also beg for your food. And so this becomes a routine. Then later in the day, probably most are sleeping most of the time. And so unconditioning is a non-attachment, but it is something that's an active, a letting go, and a letting go from moment to moment, from situation to situation. And I will show ways how to do this letting go, and I've coined a word for this. It's called reset. Reset is probably the most important concept now in my life, or a way to get to this unconditioning. And it's connected to what you do when you have a problem on the computer. You reset it, you restart it. And this process has to happen every day. And when your mind is full, it's not really something. You can do it as an exercise to try to have no thoughts, but this is more the result. It's a result of the conditions we are in. And so if you try to remove the results and not the cause, then you will never be successful in the long term. And most of you know, who have tried to be mindful, it works for a few minutes, for a few hours maybe, and then everything comes back, because the cause for this chatter in your mind is somewhere else. And actually maybe it's not even a problem. When you have this sense of unconditionality, you don't even care about the chatter. Maybe it's gone, maybe it's there. It's not so important anymore. You have found the deepest stone of connectedness, and that's what I want to talk about in the next few months.